Employment affects people's lives in a very fundamental way. Being able to provide for themselves and their families. We've won some of the other battlegrounds already, but having protections for the LGBT community in the workplace, this is an issue whose time has come. There's been a lot of messages that we don't have rights in all these states. And we hear again and again that Congress hasn't added sexual orientation and gender identity into Title VII. When in reality, Title VII does protect us. We've had a lot more success on that with transgender employees, but as far as lesbian, gay, and bisexual employees, that is an awareness that's just now taking hold. At the federal appellate court level, that's where we need the breakthrough decision. So potential impact of a win either in the Hively or the Evans case is just literally to change the game. The Civil Rights Act covers a lot of different areas, but specifically Title VII is regarding employment. And it says that you cannot discriminate against somebody because of that person's race, color, sex, religion, or national origin. What's discrimination because of someone's sex? It's not just about treating women the same as men anymore. It's really any time that an individual person, something happens to them that's bad that would not have happened to them if they weren't the sex that they are. And that's why lesbian, gay, bisexual employees are all covered under Title VII.
Security guards in the state of Georgia, they have mandatory state training that they have to go through. I've always kind of fallen into this field with ease. It was just the next step to go ahead on and do the training so that I could perform my job well. Most days, others will listen to you because you present yourself in a clean, professional manner. You're firm when you direct people, and so most people respect that. Some of the other women in the department were absolutely more feminine, and I just was not that type of female. And so a lot of people get offended by my appearance and makes people uncomfortable at times. It was terrible. I ended up taking work home with me every day. I would be very stressed out. I would dread going to work because of what might happen that day. I would cry because I was overwhelmed by the way I was being treated.
There's really no question that Jameka, she was discriminated against because of her failure to conform to gender stereotypes, but Title VII strikes at the entire spectrum of disparate treatment of people that results from gender stereotypes. There are different arguments that we make. One is somebody who didn't conform to feminine norms. The other one is a stereotype that women should date only men. She was discriminated against because of an attraction to women, and no man who works at Georgia Regional Hospital who's attracted to women experiences similar discrimination.
I got into teaching about 16 years ago. The moment that somebody goes from being frustrated because they don't understand something to all of a sudden getting it, when the light bulb turns on, that's the most amazing thing about my job. It was horribly degrading. I was a good teacher. That didn't matter. I could have been the best at what I did. The fact that I was a lesbian took all that away. I worked really hard to be good at my job, and to be denied advancement again and again and again was heartbreaking. That's where I'd hoped to spend the rest of my life and to retire from. So to be told that I was never going to get those things is like being told that this dream that you've had for a long time was never going to happen.
In the Hively case, you can't have a different policy for men than you have for women. So the argument is that women who date women are discriminated against, whereas men who date women are not. The other argument is if you discriminate against someone who's in a same-sex relationship, you necessarily know the sex of their partner or spouse and their sex, and you're taking both of those into consideration. That's the same kind of discrimination. It's discrimination against somebody because they are of a different race than their partner, and both race and sex discrimination are equally prohibited by Title VII on the same terms. The EEOC has ruled that sexual orientation discrimination is covered by Title VII, but there hasn't been a federal appellate court to weigh in yet. And so I think it'll just change everything in a very profound way if we win either of those cases.
It's not okay to discriminate against people. My sexual orientation has nothing to do with my job, has nothing to do with my work performance. So I shouldn't have to defend myself over my job because of who I love.
A lot of times, all it would take to change things is one person to stand up. I don't want this to happen to anyone else, and I don't want to continue to go through this myself. So if I have to be that one person, I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
It would make me very proud to know that my case made a huge impact. These things are still happening, and they're still happening on a regular basis. And it's just average, normal, everyday people who are fighting to keep jobs. So I hope I'm being a voice for them.